All right, guys, we are live. Welcome, everybody out there. Hey, what's up, Beyond Peril? I swing a bit more is there. Of course, he's right here next to me. Right, literally right next to me. Hi, Chris. I see Brownies out there and Swamper, of course. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Lovecraft Tapes Presents, actually. I'm Jeremy, your keeper of arcane lore, and tonight I am joined by our composer in residence, Chris Parker. Hi, Chris.
Hello.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. Thanks for joining me yet again, because
Thank
we
you.
are beyond thrilled and excited to present the worldwide debut of Chris's composition for Case 17, Seance 9, our latest podcast scenario, the first episode for which will hit the airwaves next Taco Fish Tuesday. Mark your calendars, kids. Look for that Taco Fish Tuesday truck parked outside your schools, I guess. I don't know. That's probably not a thing, but all right. Now, Chris's musical suite runs about 8 minutes, so we're going to play it in its entirety without commentary for your listening pleasure. Headphones are highly recommended. After which, we'll come back and talk to Chris a little bit about his creative process. Now, please note in the lower left corner of your screen, you'll see a section there for tips at kofi.com/Lovecraft Tapes. And any gratuity donated at that link during this live broadcast will go directly to Chris for all his hard work. At least he deserves a cocktail or two. And thank you. We got our first tip in tonight from Justin Levesque. $5 says this music is BET. That's what the cool kids say, yeah? I don't know what BET stands for. I'm not a cool kid by any stretch of the imagination. But thank you, Justin, for that tip. And we will try to keep tabs on that tip jar when we're playing the music. We won't be able to hear the bleeps, and we probably won't either, but I appreciate that. So now, without further ado, please sit back, close your eyes, and imagine the soundtrack to an Italian giallo that never got made, but might still exist in our collective unconscious. All right. Yeah, I know. Beyond Peril. We were just talking some behind the scenes stuff here, real quick. Hopefully, you guys were able to listen to that in its entirety. I know the Twitch ads probably kicked in for you. So, what are you going to do? Uh, but we are back. So, if you enjoy this live stream, just a little reminder, and wish to toss a few coins to our talented musician, please do so at kofi.com/lovecrafts tapes during this broadcast, and we'll take care of Chris. Now let's talk a little bit about the music. What do you say, Chris?
Yeah,
Let's
I can do
talk.
that.
Awesome. So, as we do each time, Chris has composed something original for us. I basically come up with like a seed of some sort, so the mood that I know the scenario is going to evoke, and then I basically just hand it over to him with maybe some suggested listening, and that's where we went this time, right? I basically just said, uh, thinking like this track on Suspiria. That was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, you basically just said Suspiria and specifically like these two songs. And I actually can't even remember if I read that far into the the messages
Mhm.
before I started listening to Suspiria and also um came to the conclusion that I liked those songs the best,
Mhm.
which coincidentally are the songs that they play the most in
Yep.
Suspiria.
Yep. They
Um,
really stick with you.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, we kind of just like met in the middle on that one.
Mhm. Yep. And obviously, if anybody out there who is watching and listening tonight is familiar with Suspiria or any of Goblin's music soundtrack work, I think you can see that Chris nailed the aesthetic 100%. And I obviously I love it. It's exactly what I had hoped that it would be with some additional stuff in there that I really found super compelling. For me, I really love when you kick off the guitars and the drums there at about the 4 minute mark. That just gets my blood going for sure. I love all the haunting stuff at the beginning and at the end, obviously, and yeah. So, what were your thoughts as you started composing?
Uh, Usually what I always try to start with is very similar to the past couple of cases. I always try to have some sort of either overarching either outline of, like you said, the theme, or like kind of how, not necessarily a story, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily trying to tell a parallel story to what you're trying to do. But either from where I'm starting, I want to take, as you're listening, you on like a little kind of journey. So
Mm-hmm.
on this one, I wanted to kind of find where you were starting and then where you're going to end up. And also, I want to start with, okay, let's find something melodic that I can just attach to,
Mm-hmm.
and then I can just build off of that. So, usually, when I'm writing something like this, um, those two things will take the longest time. And then once those two things are in place, you can kind of noodle off of that,
Mm-hmm.
and things will just kind of fall into place as you spend however long it takes to kind of build out a drum part. Oh, this doesn't work. Swap that out. Come in with something else. And it's a lot like writing, where it's like you'll just put whatever out onto the paper,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe later you can come back and edit it. But you don't usually want to do away with anything because maybe you'll use it later in another context.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's important to add too that when Chris and I do these, when Chris does his compositions, he doesn't know anything really about the scenario. Like I don't
No.
give him any details. He has no clue what the plot is or anything like that. I give him just a seed of an idea, and then he takes it someplace. And I will say that most of the time, what he's put down uh, as the musical cues correlates very well with the beats of the story. I can almost, plot what I've plotted out in my little mind mup, mind map. Um, it syncs up pretty well, which I'm always super happy about. And I don't know why or how that happens, but you know, I
I'm
think
in
it's
your
because
walls.
yeah, well, also, but I think you have a really good grasp of structure and storytelling. So that is, you just kind of go on that same way. And by the time we're finished, we have skeletons that kind of match up, I think, in a lot of respects. So when you actually get down to record, like there's a lot of stuff going on here, even more than like some sampling of seagulls or stuff that you did with like Case 15. But like I assume this is a lot of you breathing and clapping and like there's what's that process like of doing all of those little bits of musical cues, but also audio cues?
Oh, like, how it gets from like how I thought to do it, or
No, like
how
your
what's
actual
the physical
process of,
process?
yeah, the actual doing of it. Like, do you just sit
Oh,
down and like noodle on your guitar for a bit and nail it that way? Do you write the music in advance on paper or
in this case, no.
okay?
I sort of, well, so for the I'll speak to the rhythm parts first. So for the rhythm parts, and all the percussion,
Hmm.
what I wanted to do was, I wanted it to, feel like a ritual,
Hmm.
because what I wanted it so basically I wanted it to speak to, like I said, kind of like the overall theme. So if you're gonna write to like a concert report or something like in high school or college, the kind of the journey that I wanted it to be taken on was, or like the listener to be taken on,
Hmm.
is essentially that uh, you are either witnessing or physically being a part of this seance or this ritual, and then you are making contact. So it intensifies, and that's when everything's going
Hmm.
right. And then when all of the percussion cuts out, that's when you're making contact. And then the prog rock stuff, that's like a vision kind of.
Hmm.
And then it all kind of comes back as the ritual comes to a close. So that's why it kind of starts with like a match, um, and
Yeah.
that. So to kind of get that feel of like a ritual, what I wanted to do was have things that were very repetitive and simple, but were also complex. And how I thought to do that was polyrhythms. So it was a lot of very simple instruments playing the same parts, but that were overlapping. So what I what I did was I was doing um, two mics at once because I didn't want to
Mm,
record multiple times. So I
right.
had two microphones recording me at the same time, and I would just clap. And so I was sitting in this room in the dark, clapping for like an hour, and it's like hurting my forearms, just, just like, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
like clapping. But I would clap different ways. So I would clap, like this or like this,
Hmm.
and then I would go in and chop it up. So I would adjust the timing, and then I would make it so that the two different takes sounded like two different people clapping.
Ah,
And
nice.
then so one person on two mics sounded like two people.
Hmm.
And then I would take multiple takes, and then that would end up being like four different claps.
Hmm.
And then that technique was the same thing for me breathing, for me stomping, which was both me stomping on a steamer trunk and me hitting a cardboard box.
So
Um,
you're doing all kinds of Foley work.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, tons of Foley. And same thing with me. That guitar was actually that little mandolin kind of sound is
Hmm.
actually I have it here.
That little ding, diddle, ding, ding, diddle, ding, ding.
Yeah, it's actually a little micro guitar
Oh, nice.
with 4 strings that has a busted bridge that I just recorded acoustic that
Nice.
I think my grandpa got for me at a
Beautiful.
either garage sale or like a flea market or something
It's
that
so
I have
wee.
not ever used.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I finally got to use it for something.
Beautiful.
And then like the drums, I used individual rack toms that I got off of a drum set I bought from a friend of
Mhm.
mine in high school. Um, Things like that. And then I basically just kind of noodled the music box based on, like what key am I going to be in?
Mhm.
Let's make something that is in this key and then went from there. So,
Beautiful. All right, let's talk a little bit because we gave people a little bit of a teaser in social media and whatnot. Let's
yeah.
talk about some Easter eggs. You came to me with an
Oh yeah.
idea.
Yeah, so there's a few. So the obvious ones are the one that I always like to put in at the very end is like you can kind of hear the main theme of the show. That
Mhm.
one's a gimme. So anytime I do a theme for you guys, I always sneak it in. The less obvious one version of it is uh so I put it in as a glockenspiel part
Mhm.
as the music is kind of tapering out. But then I also had it as part of like a guitar solo.
Mhm.
Um which actually I got I got a huge blister on my hand recording the guitar part
Worth it.
because I was it was actually because I was trying to do these pinch harmonics and it was just not coming out because it's the way that I was recording guitar. But
Yeah.
anyways,
And when you
and
say
then
the theme, he means the basic the main Lovecraft tapes theme that we play at the intro to every episode.
yes,
So you sort of
yeah, the
rework that
initial
and
one.
sneak it in different ways.
Yeah, and the specifically the part that goes like the bing bong 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 bong
Mm-hmm.
that little
Ding 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 ding
um
ding ding ding.
and in the chat I mentioned that Matt had a solo. um if you listen closely to the middle section, kind of when everybody's going like "Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa," I was thinking it would be kind of cool for a seance um was if you heard a dead character or a dead
Yes.
investigator.
I love it.
So if you listen back to it, I got Kyle's last words
Oh.
and I pitched the shit out of them and made them sound just like really messed up, like he
Mm-hmm.
was kind of like coming through,
Yeah, through some airwaves.
but like in like kind of a weird, like not quite their way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fun. And
Beautiful.
then the other interesting one, um, at the very beginning, you'll hear kind of whispers throughout, whispers, and then um, that kind of ping pong around from left to right, and then the whispers kind of turn into like wow, 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 like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you listen closely, you'll hear that it's saying the names of the investigators. Uh, but uh, if you listen closely and you happen to be a patron of the podcast Patreon, you might also hear your name. Because what I did for literally like, I think 8 hours, 10
Oh God,
hours
no.
was I did basically what Jeremy does in like a minute and a half where he like reads the
Quickly.
Patreon list. Yeah, very quickly. But what I did was I read the names and then I reversed them and then I said them backwards and then I reversed those, and then I
Jesus.
pitched it. So which is basically what David Lynch did, in Twin Peaks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I said them as whispers, and I said them as, like, weird little gremlin, like, so, uh you may the intention was that, like, maybe you're listening to this and you're like, "Did somebody, like, say my name or something?" And it was part of, like, a kind of an incantation thing because I'm like, "What?" Like, I don't wanna just, like, say gibberish,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Because it's like it's very evident when you, like, say gibberish
Yeah.
and you're just like,
Yeah.
and it's like,
That's not
that's
a
not
spell.
exactly.
Nikto.
So, I thought, Jeremy and I thought it would be fun to uh, put in, a little, extra Patreon bonus.
Yeah. That was your idea, and I thought it was brilliant. That was a lot of fun. So appreciate you sneaking
So,
in
yeah.
those poor bastards.
Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you, Chris. I love it. I hope everybody out there loves this new theme song. You're gonna hear it a little bit more, and but for now, I want to thank everybody for attending this very special live stream of the Lovecraft Tapes Case 17 theme music debut. And if you like what you saw and heard tonight, please consider supporting the podcast at patreon.com/Lovecraft Tapes, where at 10 p.m. in about 30 minutes Eastern Time, the first episode of K17 drops for our patrons. Now, this early access version does feature the new theme music. I hope you appreciate that. Yeah, again, you get to listen to it again if you're a patron. Otherwise, that comes out to the public next Tuesday. So again, thank you, Chris. And meanwhile, you can find me at discord.lovecrafttapes.com where cast members chat in real time with fans and friends. And Chris, let everybody know where they can find you.
I have a link tree. Link tree. I think it's link tree. I swear a bit more.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. That's got like my Twitter, my letterbox, my Twitch, my YouTube, where you can find uh all of these songs and like VODs once I put them up.
Yeah. Well, I thought those were only going to go to OnlyFans. I don't know. So,
Some point.
all right. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. And until next time, roll for Goblin. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. And we will see you very shortly. Actually, see you tomorrow night for the actual podcast. So have a good night.